This is exactly how I caught a break-even trade. This trade recap is from last Friday, and I didn't have time to record it, but I'm going to be explaining the one trade I ended up taking and reviewing the price action. So this is the one trade I ended up taking, and I did get break-even, but let's just start on the higher time frame. So 4 hour, what do I see? We're obviously at all-time highs. So all I want to be doing is looking for longs. I also saw that we had this 1 hour gap below here, and we were mitigating this 30-minute. So if I wanted longs, we would have to sweep this 30-minute internal low here, as well as this 1 hour gap here. So coming into the day, what I wanted to see is us just to open low and then get an inverse out of this, because what would we have above? We had this data high, or whatever this was. We also had equal highs with this high, and then triple equal highs over here. So it's triple equal highs here. Super stacked, super strong draw on liquidity, and we also had this accumulation phase here, as well as a 15-minute gap here, and all-time highs above. So all I wanted to see us to do at open is 9:30 open low, sweep out this low here, and then just get an inverse immediately, targeting these good draws on liquidity. So that is exactly what we end up getting. We end up having this 1 minute gap here being inversed, and this was a little bit of a weird trade because technically we did have a 5 minute in the leg, but this is the current manipulation leg. So I ended up taking this. I put my stop right here. Really good displacement. We created an order block here, and we have a super clear break-even point, which was this 5 minute gap here. And you can see we hit our break-even almost instantly, and then this went from a break-even into a loss, which is perfect. So basically I got saved. But going into the second setup that happened that day, just going in my notes here, this was my thought of the trade. We had this clear accumulation manipulation at 9:30, and our inversion here. We had a really good close. We had our 9:30 PO3 plus AMD structure, and we had a really good easy and break even spot here, as well as true manipulation. So ES also hit the 1 hour gap, and great DOLs. But what was bad about it is we had weird structure, and ES hasn't even interacted with the inverting gap. So this was one of the biggest things that I didn't like about the trade, which I didn't notice in the moment. But looking at here, you can see while NQ inverses my key level, my gap, then NQ or then ES hasn't even like touched my gap here, or like barely made a bullish candle. So this, I definitely would have faded this if I knew, but luckily I got saved with the break even. But that's exactly what ended up happening with this 5 minute. So I feel like if I didn't take the 1 minute, I would have took this 5 minute here, which we do end up getting here. Super good displacement, super good draw on liquidity. And you can see, if you look at ES, ES hasn't even interacted with the gap, and we're barely, like, we haven't even interacted with the 1 minute gap. So this was exactly the reason that this trade lost, but also, honestly, I feel like this should have hit, because this was just a super good trade, and ES lacking behind. Didn't think it was the biggest factor, but definitely will put it for next time. Don't take a trade unless ES has like a good body closure through the gap, or especially when it doesn't even interact with it. But yeah, that was a really good trade, except for the part that ES had, but I still rated it an A setup. This was kind of mech PDI BNQ, all these setups, and went from a break even to a loss, so I'm really happy about that. And then going to the PO3 of the day, we can see pre-market accumulated. We made a bunch of generated liquidity here, as well as equal highs. 9:30 opens, and we manipulate straight lower into the 1 hour gap and get an instant reaction, targeting this low resistance here and this 15-minute gap, and what's below is a high resistance low. Then we fail to distribute off here, and 9:45 opens higher, retesting the range, but fails to reach the objective of the 15-minute internal high, and creates more liquidity, which will be targeted later, signing that the 1 hour below here might be swept and hit the discounted 1 hour. Then we hit the discounted 1 hour, and 10 a.m. opens respecting a 1 minute gap, showing that 1 hour sweep is now high resistance, and we could see a reaction above and attacking this generated liquidity that we have here. Then 10:15 opens up and we create the wick. We hit this 15-minute internal high, we get the DOL, and then we just start accumulating here, and we'll just have a really slow distribution and lack of delivery. And then 10:30 just does whatever it wants, just complete chops. That's basically the breakdown of my trade. But then going into here, we can see this clearly lost because you can see ES hasn't even interacted with a single gap yet. And you want ES to be looking like similar to NQ when you're taking a trade, so that just completely gets cooked. Then we end up hitting this lower 1 hour gap here, so there's nothing at our stop loss here. We're just in the more discounted 1 hour gap. There's nothing here. Then we get a super displacing 5-minute close, but honestly I'm not sure if I would have took this, because you can see, look at all this chop. We chop here, we chop over here, we fail to deliver as well. I'm not sure if I would have taken this, but this was definitely trade of the day. I would say it's between my trade and this trade, but they were both super good. But you can see that if you did end up taking this, break even obviously at these 15-minute gap, brutal break even, and then just go straight into a win or loss depending on where your stop loss was. But my stop loss definitely would have been around here somewhere. But just super choppy and slow delivery day. But we did end up getting break even, so it doesn't really matter. But I should definitely, the big lesson was making sure that ES has either an inversion of the gap or 40% body closure, or it also looks some like the same. But yeah, that's the biggest thing about this trade. I still got I took this trade, to be honest, because it was an A setup. I could easily see this playing out. But overall, this week has been really slow. But I did end up taking enough trades to help my frequency and stuff. But yeah, that's it. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow for more videos like this.